loss problems? Well, if you worry about balding, it's extremely important you know what's your hair loss pattern. Take a good look at the chart below. Do you find yourself in any of the situations above? Then there's something you need to know today. Despite what you've been led to believe, the root cause of balding and hair thinning has absolutely nothing to do with your age, your hormones, or genetics. And it's not about how stressed you are or how healthy your lifestyle is either. Instead, as a groundbreaking experiment from the University of California, San Francisco, they've proven that the real cause of hair loss has everything to do with something deeply disturbing lurking inside every cell of your scalp at this very moment. Something that looks like this. And once you discover what it is, you'll have the power to rescue your thinning scalp and restore a full head of youthful hair, going from this to this. Now, no matter if you've been dealing with hair loss for years or just a couple of months, no matter if you're 20, 50, or 70 years old, or if you've tried hundreds of shampoos, pills, or tips and tricks without finding any success, this natural, safe method that has been kept secret by a legendary monk who, according to the New York Times, lived to be 256 years old, can help you grow a jungle of thick, luscious hair. You won't have to put on your scalp oily, toxic solutions, or pay a single red cent on useless shampoos and foul-smelling potions. It's absolutely crucial that you stick with me until the very end of my story while you still have the chance, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep this presentation online. See, the hair loss industry is worth $3.2 billion in the US alone. These people are perfectly happy to shatter your physical and mental health, trying to make you think their crazy chemical-filled treatments and overly expensive foams are the only solution out there, especially when doing that makes them so rich and famous. I mean, honestly, if all of these things really worked, Americans would all have supermodel hair by now. It's only logical they're scared that my method can put them out of business overnight. See, they don't want you confident, showing off your strong, thick hair. They want to keep you a customer for life, desperate to get your hands on whatever new wonder serum they advertise. Know that what you're going through is real, and it needs immediate attention. So please keep listening, because this information could save your looks, your health, and your sex life. In the next 5 minutes, you'll find out the 3 popular hair treatments that are an absolute waste of your money, no matter how much experts recommend. Now hint, one of them only creates very expensive urine, and it doesn't even reach your hair. How a medically acclaimed solution led to half of my hair gone overnight. Why there is no such thing as genetic hair loss, and why officials are doing everything to hide the truth. Scientists have never discovered a baldness gene. The strange residue that's been found in the body of balding men and women that researchers believe is the real reason why people living in developed countries are losing their hair. And the clinically proven, simple 10-second ancient method that you can use starting today to successfully grow healthy hair day after day while boosting your libido, energy, and taking care of your digestive system and blood sugar levels, along with all the studies and tests that prove how it works. Imagine ditching all the embarrassment your hair loss has ever caused you, all the insecurities, the self-consciousness whenever you're talking with somebody else. Never having to fear about being rejected because it makes you older or funny looking. Never having to see how your spouse loses interest in sex because they don't find you attractive anymore. And never having to hear crude nicknames like Baldy or Cue Ball. Imagine replacing that gruesome feeling in your stomach when you see more hair clogging the drain, with the excitement and joy of noticing less and less of that shiny scalp. Your hair is growing strong, thick, and dense, crowning every single inch of your head, turning heads around, leaving all your acquaintances dumbstruck and dead curious about your secret. So let's not waste any more time, because it's time you broke free from the hair loss nightmare. Hi, my name is James Green. I'm 49 years old, and I live in a small town near Austin, Texas, with my dear wife Joy and our twin sons. I want you to know right from the beginning that I'm not a doctor. I'm not a clever scientist, nor am I a VIP hairdresser. I'm just a normal guy who works as a pharmacist, and that's a crucial job because people who are in pain really rely on us for relief. Now, you might not know this, but doctors are not experts in drugs and don't always have the time to figure out dosages. See, it's the pharmacist's task to know exactly how a treatment works and to adjust the dosages in order for the medication to be a success and to avoid any harmful counter effects. Every day, we're working with thousands of pills, supplements, and medical cosmetics. We know what's really worth taking and what's a waste of your money. I can tell you right now that not one of the most acclaimed shampoos, foams, and supplements for hair loss do what they advertise. On the contrary, not only did our customers complain of seeing absolutely no results, but some of them are unbelievably dangerous. I should know. I experimented most of them on myself. And that's how I got to the ER in the middle of the night with my scalp on fire, half of my hair gone, and big chunks of red skin falling off of my temples. Now, the following story is incredibly painful for me to tell, but I want to make sure that none of you will ever make the same mistake I did. You see, 4 years ago, my wife and I were on the verge of a divorce. We were both stressed out over the same thing, hair loss. Joy's hair had begun thinning really badly after her second pregnancy, and over the years, it only got worse. There was no hairdresser or haircut in the world that could hide it, so she wore all kinds of hats and scarves that luckily suited her well. My hairline, on the other hand, was receding day by day, and I was clearly balding on the crown of my head, too. I just couldn't understand how my fate could be so cruel. All the men and women in my family had hair like a stallion, thick, strong, dark. I felt like the sad clown of the holiday gathering pictures. It seemed like we were in a shedding horror movie. We got depressed first thing in the morning when we styled our hair, hoping to hide those balding areas. Throughout the day, we were seeing hair all over our clothes, chairs, or rugs. The drain clogged when we were taking a shower. We lived in terror every single minute. And our teenage twins, they sure didn't make it any easier. They joked around that we should start a band called the Baldies. And even though we clearly loved each other, our once steamy sex life felt like a distant memory. We were clearly no longer attracted to one another. The truth was, I really missed her long, wavy blonde curls, and I knew for sure that she had never considered bald guys when it came to dating. We both felt guilty. We should have known better. We were going through the same thing, but guilt really has nothing to do with libido. It was at work where all hell got loose. I had to face clients all day, and I was convinced they were all checking out my balding spots. And you know what? That wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was my colleague Josh. Now, Josh had a glorious full head of hair. I was crushed every time customers chose him over me for medical advice, because I could see that they trusted him more because he was the picture of perfect looks and health. Listen, no matter how you slice it, hair means power and attractiveness. In fact, a survey performed by Johns Hopkins School of Medicine revealed, when it comes to hair, people judge you harshly. Women are 30% less likely to find a balding man attractive, and men are 80% less likely to find a balding woman attractive. Moreover, those stats are representative for all aspects of life. When it comes to baldness, people automatically assume you're 7 years older or more, that you're unsuccessful or boring, and are less likely to take you seriously. It's like you matter less. Keep on thinning, leaving you with an awkward island of hair right on your crown, is caused by something else. This number one culprit of pattern baldness sneaks up on you until it's too late, and it's a lot more dangerous than hair falling. The gradual retreat of hair away from the forehead in a distinctive M shape, or the hair loss from the crown of your head that eventually spreads into a distinctive, ridiculous horseshoe, actually starts with your roots and hair thinning. That's right. A part of your hair is silently thinning every day until it vanishes, which explains why sometimes bald patches seem to develop overnight. But why is the hair thinning in the first place? What most hair experts know is this. Hair grows from a tiny root or follicle underneath the skin. Each follicle should go through a normal hair growth cycle. Phase 1, shedding, that's when the hair falls out. And Phase 2, growth or regrowth. Your hair is supposed to fall out. The worrying part is not that it falls. An individual strand of hair normally lives between 2 and 4 years. Then, once it dies, the follicle sheds it and grows another hair. So, what's going on when your hair falls out and doesn't grow back? Many doctors will say, genetics, shrug their shoulders and tell you there's nothing you can do. Neck running to the laptop. I immediately opened up my email and wrote to the wise monk. I even sent him a picture. I begged him to tell me what the sacred mixture was made of. So I sent him my research, all the data about glyphosate, everything. I was on pins and needles for 3 whole weeks before I finally got an answer. As it turns out, the Buddhist monk had been on a long trip through Nepal with no access to the internet. I'll be forever in his debt for every single word I read. Not only did he unveil the 3 plants of Li Chuyen's sacred formula, but he also added 4 new natural cleansers for more strength and vigor gathered by the Buddhist monks on their pilgrimage. So I got to work immediately. I checked every ingredient on the list. All of them were linked to countless studies and benefits. There was no exception. I want you to know every single one of them, starting with the Sacred Hair Trio, or the 3 godlike plants on which Li Chuyen, the 256-year-old herbalist, thrived. The same plants that the Buddhist monks took as a modern world antidote. The most effective one is a plant called Foti. Now, a large study was conducted on 507 participants to observe the effects of Foti on hair loss. After collecting and analyzing their data, the researchers found 95% of the subjects noticed that issues with excessive shedding had stopped. 77% of the participants experienced significantly reduced hair loss. 90% of the men and women saw their balding spots noticeably shrinking. Just to paint a picture, that's the difference between this and this. Scientists were stunned, so they launched more studies to verify these hair-restoring results. In another study performed on 24 men and 24 women between the ages of 30 and 60, 91% of the men and 87% of the women started experiencing significant improvements after just a couple of weeks of taking Foti orally. A group of researchers even thought about comparing it with the well-known minoxidil. They isolated different compounds of Foti and compared their performance to the minoxidil. The results of Foti surpassed those of the most popular solution for hair growth today. It also produces the longest growth after a treatment period of just a couple of weeks. This plant's benefits go beyond hair growth. Foti is also known as He Shou Wu, and it translates to the black-haired Mr. He. It was named this due to the youth-restoring effects it had on Mr. He, the one who discovered the herb. Eventually, his hair color returned, almost magically shifting from gray to a rich, lustrous black. Now, if you don't believe in legends, that's fine, but there's a handful of clinical reports that prove a remarkable activity to restore rich color to white or graying hair. Foti also has a long history of use for healthy aging, high libido and virility, and strong immune system. Besides, it's been found to work particularly well, especially if you're over 50. The second member of the trio is a miracle fruit for the scalp that can also undo the damage done to hair cells. You may have heard of goji berries before. Their effect is amazing when it comes to stabilizing the blood flow and blood circulation through the scalp and supporting the cells responsible for increasing hair length. Among others, goji berry is a fantastic ally when it comes to burning fat and weight loss. The third plant of the trio is a medicinal leaf that acts as a follicle reconstructor.